What if I told you that one of the most profound, psychologically complex masterpieces of our modern era is actually a 7-minute animated show about a family of Australian dog? Seriously, if you think Bluey is just some simple, bright-colored cartoon designed to keep toddlers distracted, you are entirely missing the bigger picture. Welcome to This Explainer. Today we are cracking this phenomenon wide open. We are going to unpack the incredibly deep, hidden psychological and parenting lessons tucked away inside everyday episodes of this massive hit. Because let me tell you, there is a whole lot of unexpected, deeply emotional depth hiding right below the surface, and it is actively resonating with millions of adults around the world. So let's get right into it.
Listen to this quote for a second. I felt like I was doing everything wrong. Now, this intense vulnerability, it comes straight from Bluey's mom, Chili. And what is just so absolutely compelling about this specific moment is how it completely shatters that glossy Instagram-filtered illusion of effortless parenting we are constantly bombarded with. I mean, it looks us right into the emotional core of our analysis today, because if we're being totally honest with ourselves, we have all felt exactly like this at some point, haven't we? Whether you are a parent, a young professional, or just an adult trying to figure life out, that suffocating feeling of imposter syndrome is universally real.
Which naturally leads us to a fascinating, almost paradoxical question. Why does a cartoon about animated dogs somehow manage to capture the absolute hardest, most agonizing parts of parenting and growing up so flawlessly? Well, we are going to figure that out by carefully analyzing 4 very specific, brilliant storylines from the show, specifically the episodes titled Baby Race, Perfect, Bedroom, and Obstacle Course. We are going to reveal exactly how this series completely bypasses the usual kids' show cliches to tackle our deepest, most universal human anxieties. It's like a Trojan horse of emotional intelligence.
Okay, let's jump right into Section 1, the parenting pressure cooker. So, let's talk about the baby race. If you've ever been around a group of new parents, you know exactly what this is. It is that heavily unspoken, incredibly intense competitive nature of parents' groups. It's the silent, constant comparison of early childhood milestones. Who is walking first? Whose baby is speaking 3 languages by Tuesday? This definition right here perfectly captures the exact psychological trap that Chili falls headfirst into. She's sitting there and suddenly she realizes that her friend's baby is aggressively hitting developmental milestones way faster than her own daughter, Bluey. And just like that, the pressure cooker gets turned all the way up.
And this is where we see that agonizing comparison trap perfectly illustrated. Just imagine being in Chili's shoes. We see this other baby, Judo, absolutely thriving. I mean, Judo is pulling up on furniture, she's crawling early, basically doing developmental acrobatics. And then, meanwhile, you have Bluey. Bluey has resorted to rolling over early, sure, but then she starts doing this weird bum shuffling thing and crawling backwards. Chili is sitting there staring at this glaring contrast, and it inevitably leads her to a completely overwhelming, crushing sense of personal failure. And here is the kicker. Even when a literal medical doctor reassures her that some babies just bum shuffle and it's totally normal, it doesn't even matter. Logic doesn't work here. The anxiety is already taken over, and the societal pressure is just way too much.
Moving right along to Section 2, Pursuing the Perfect Picture.
It has to be perfect. I'm going to draw a perfect picture of me and Dad. Now we are shifting gears to look at things from the child's perspective, and honestly, this hits just as hard. In the storyline appropriately titled Perfect, Bluey develops this frantic, almost obsessive desire to draw an absolutely flawless Father's Day card. And what this reveals is a deeply relatable, heartbreakingly common childhood anxiety. It's that innate, desperate desire to be flawlessly good enough for the people we love the most. We convince ourselves that if we just deliver perfection, we'll earn their approval.
So what happens? Bluey starts throwing away drawing after drawing. She is getting incredibly frustrated, ripping up paper, completely melting down because she cannot perfectly capture these messy, chaotic realities on the page. Things like the blur of being tickled by her dad or the complex motion of a returning boomerang. So the absolute crucial point here is that Bluey mistakenly believes that love requires perfection. She's trapped in this cycle of constantly trashing her own art because it just doesn't meet this impossible, totally rigid standard she has randomly set for herself in her own head. It's a textbook perfectionism spiral happening to a literal puppy.
But then we get this beautiful, perspective-shifting resolution. Her mother steps in and drops this absolute truth bomb. Parenting and drawing are both tough, but it's actually good to be tough. Perfection isn't required for love. Chili gently reminds her frantic daughter that neither drawing a picture nor raising a kid is ever perfect. The whole process is inherently messy. It's frustrating and it's tough. But you know what? Dad loves every single picture anyway, flaws and all.
And just like that, she effectively shatters that toxic illusion of perfection, not just for Bluey, but for the anxious parents sitting on the couch watching the show right alongside their kids.
All right, let's transition into Section 3, Navigating Sibling Bonds.
I want you to look closely at the emotional timeline of the bedroom narrative, because it is a masterclass in storytelling. Step 1. We start with the sheer, undeniable excitement of finally getting separate rooms. It's the ultimate childhood dream, right? Independence. But then, Step 2 hits. Bedtime rolls around, the lights go out, and there's a sudden crashing realization of absolute loneliness. So Step 3, they panic. They start sending toys like Gloria and Lampy, sliding back and forth down the dark hallway just to maintain a connection. And finally, Step 4, they ultimately reunite in the exact same room to sleep. This 4-step progression perfectly, brilliantly demonstrates the bittersweet friction we all face in life between intensely craving independence and harboring a deep, instinctual fear of separation.
Think about what this actually means. The physical transition from a loud shared space to a quiet, empty room reveals the profound emotional safety net that siblings inherently provide for one another. As we watch the kids continuously make up these elaborate excuses to visit each other, claiming they have to say goodnight to a specific stuffed animal, or passing random little messages through the hallway, it shows us something vital about human nature. It shows us that growing up isn't some clean, straight line. You don't just flip a switch and become independent. Sometimes, achieving the exact independence you thought you desperately wanted can be surprisingly, paralyzingly lonely.
Which brings us to a completely different type of growing pain. Section 4, Learning How to Lose.
Okay, prepare yourself for this quote because it goes hard. Because she's a kid? Why would I let her win? That's not good, Bluey. You won't try to play better. In the obstacle course storyline, Dad Bandit utterly refuses to take it easy on Bluey during a competitive backyard race. He refuses to hand her a participation trophy. Instead, he delivers a blunt, incredibly unvarnished reality check about the nature of competition that is frankly just so refreshing to see in a modern piece of media. He's not being mean. He is preparing her for the real world.
Bandit is out here imparting some seriously harsh but absolutely critical truths. Listen to these tenets. Cheaters never win. You must actually learn how to lose in order to get better at anything in life. Resilience is built through struggle. It is never just given to you. Obstacles don't just magically disappear from your path because you're frustrated. And most importantly, legitimate, hard-earned victory tastes so much sweeter than a fake one. Now, while his style of parenting might seem a little tough or uncompromising on the surface, Bandit is actively playing the long game here. He is ensuring that his daughter doesn't grow up relying on the world simply accommodating her every whim or thinking she can just cheat or cry her way to the finish line.
And you know what? Here is the absolute payoff. Bluey ultimately earns her victory, but she doesn't do it by beating him on the physical obstacle course where she was at a severe physical disadvantage. No, she wins by utilizing her own unique memory skills in a completely fair, level playing field game of Memory Snap. And this beautifully, perfectly proves the underlying point. True, unshakable confidence only comes when we face obstacles head-on, accept our limitations, and then find our own legitimate ways to succeed. It completely destroys the idea that we should just sit around expecting the world to hand us an unearned win. Let's bring all of this together for the finale. Section 5, Running Your Own Race.
I want you to look at this number right here, 8. That is the exact number of children that a character named Coco's mom has raised, 8 kids. This definitively makes her a hardened, true veteran of the parenting trenches. She is someone who has lived through it all. She has seen every single milestone early, every single milestone late, and every misstep imaginable. So when Chili is at her absolute lowest point, completely drowning in that toxic baby race comparison trap we talked about earlier, feeling like a total failure of a mother, this is exactly the person who steps in to intervene.
Armed with the undeniable wisdom of raising 8 kids, Coco's mom looks at a totally stressed out, tearful Chili, and she locks eyes with her and delivers these simple, profoundly empathetic words, "You're doing great." I mean, wow, it is a phrase that every single parent, and frankly, every single person out there just trying to do their best in life, desperately needs to hear sometimes. It isn't just a platitude. Coming from someone with her experience, it is the ultimate, undeniable validation that you are not failing, you're just in the thick of it.
Which directly leads us to this quote, the absolute thesis of everything we've talked about today. Just run your own race. This one sentence really brings everything we're exploring today perfectly together, because it doesn't matter who you are. Whether you are a literal baby trying to figure out how to walk, a kid stressing out trying to draw the perfect picture for your dad, or an adult just trying to survive the day without completely burning out, comparison truly is the thief of joy. It will rob you of your happiness every single time.
You have got to learn to deliberately tune out the noise of everyone else around you and just focus strictly on your own path.
And the proof is right here in the narrative. Bluey finally took her first real steps, but it wasn't because of some forced, high-stress competition, and it definitely wasn't because of her mom's intense parental anxiety pushing her. She walked simply because she saw something over in the kitchen that she genuinely wanted. The pressure cooker only broke when Chili finally exhaled and let go of those crushing external expectations. By doing so, by just backing off, she allowed her child's development to happen completely naturally, driven 100% by organic, internal motivation instead of external pressure. It's brilliant.
So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a final provocative thought. I want you to really ask yourself, whose race are you actually running right now? As you sit there and reflect on the heavy pressures of perfectionism, the constant stress of hitting arbitrary life milestones by a certain age, and all the daily obstacles in your own life, ask yourself this one memorable question. Are you genuinely running your own race, or are you exhausting yourself running someone else's? Maybe it's time to take a page directly out of Bluey's book. Embrace the messiness of life, actually learn from your losses instead of fearing them, and just run your own race. Thanks so much for joining me today on this explainer. Keep questioning, keep exploring, and I'll see you next time.